Hello, welcome to Terry's demo. Today I will be showing you how to paint a simple river scene in watercolour. So this is the river scene that I will be showing you how to go about painting today. This is a painting I did some time ago, just using one colour. A lovely shade of brown, and that shade of brown is sepia. We have a piece of watercolour paper, and I've already marked from the corner with a pencil a little marker 5mm in from the corner. This is where I'm going to butt up my masking tape. So yeah, put your masking tape up to them pencil marks, like so. Make sure your masking tape's straight and gently rub it across like that. Also make sure your paper's straight on your board, it always helps. And then gently rub down your masking tape onto your board, like so. Do this all the way around. This is just regular masking tape that you can purchase from any art shop or hardware shop. Once you've got your masking tape in place, and by the way, we tape up like that to hold the paper in place. And secondly, once you finish your painting and you take your masking tape off, you'll be left with a lovely, crisp, sharp white border. The next job is to pick up your pencil and take a pencil line all the way across. Like so. And then with your big brush, your hake brush, you can put that into your water jar to soften. Whilst that brush is softening, we'll put out ourselves a little squirt of the colour sepia. You'll only need a smallish squirt, about the size of a baked bean. Always make sure the lid's on so your paint doesn't dry out. And then we'll start off by wetting the paper all over, from top to bottom. Spread your water around like I'm doing now to make it kind of even. I've noticed some watercolour painters, once they've wet it once like that, and because the water sinks into the paper so quickly, they wet it again. Again, making sure the water's spread out evenly. You don't really want a big puddle, so spread that out evenly like that. And then you can go back to your palette and pick up a little bit of sepia, and we will stain the paper from top to bottom with a light wash. Yeah. Okay, and in fact we'll put a little bit more colour just a little bit more colour in the sky. At the top. Don't want too much colour in the sky. I want the tree to stand out, and you could reflect that little bit of colour into the water. So something like that, very simple, not fussy at all. I'm just going to prop up my artist stand with this roll of masking tape because I don't want the top of the paper to dry out too quickly. Now, with the same brush, you can put in some distant trees. just using the corner of the brush. You want to be doing this whilst the paper's still wet, so you get a lovely soft, almost out of focus effect. It really does. It's almost like the river scene and the trees are in the mist. Maybe it's early morning mist. Take that right across, and don't forget to reflect what you've got above the horizon line below, because this is reflected. The trees are reflected in the water. Just keeping it simple. Don't need to try too hard. Let the dampness of the paper and the hake brush do the work, a lot of the work for you. Can't get too fussy with a little brush, a big brush like this. And whilst we're at it, we'll put a little bit more colour in that foreground. Just gently does it. Okay, that's good. Rinse out your brush. And put your large brush, your hake brush down, and then pick up your round brush. Okay. Now we might just need to just hold on a minute, because the paper's really quite damp, and if we put that tree in too soon, the tree on the right hand side, if we put it in too soon, the colour will just run into the dampness of the paper. So we won't rush to do that. But whilst that's still drying off, we'll pick up some more colour ready. Get that mixed. Get that well mixed all over your brush. Get plenty of colour on. After all, this tree is pretty much in the foreground. And we'll start off here in the bottom right hand corner. Bring the tree up like that. We'll have another branch coming out towards the left, like so, and another, and another. We'll put another tree here on the coming into the scene again from the bottom corner, like so. Pick up some more colour and put another in. Get some more branches on. When you're putting the branches in, just take your time, don't panic, just keep moving along. Take a little bit of weight off the brush as you're going further along the branch, just to thin out the branch, to kind of taper off what you've got. And you can have one or two branches coming into the scene from the top. One or two branches that are hanging down into the scene. We'll just try and tweak that one there a little bit. That's better. Yeah, that's good. Now we'll put a few grasses in the foreground. When I put the grasses in, you can see I'm just brushing over the masking tape. So I start off at the bottom, very bottom, and just sweep the grasses into the scene. And that should look really good and really quite effective when you take your masking tape off. Some nice long grasses. That's it, that's good. Put a few behind, from the back of the tree there. Between the two trees. Now let's go back to the palette and pick up the big brush, the hake brush, and let's mix some more colour. Don't want the brush too full of water, just slightly damp. We're now going to put some foliage in. Get that well mixed. Come back to the paper. And just gently dab here and there. Now I've got a blob of paint on the side of the brush. You do not want that in the wrong place, so let's get rid of that. Let's take that off. You can see already that's looking quite effective. I do tend to start here in the sort of like the centre of the trees, and then as you come further out, you want to lighten the tone up a little bit, and the marks. So I'll come back to the palette, take some of that colour off your brush. I know your palette's a bit messy right now. That doesn't matter. We'll clean that up later. Back to the paper. Let's put some slightly more gentle foliage here and there. Just using a splayed out hake brush. You can get them kind of marks that I'm achieving there, as long as your brush isn't too full of water. You just want a damp brush. Okay. So a damp brush. And when you want to create a splayed out brush like I have here, you just dab the brush down onto the palette. That's what I was doing to achieve these marks. Yeah. Now, last but not least, just a wee bit of detail. We're going to make those grasses look a little bit more like reeds that you typically find by the side of the river. So get plenty of colour onto your smallest brush, your rigger brush, certainly my smallest brush. Back to the grasses. Just gently lay the brush down like that at the top of a handful of grasses. And I'm sure you'll agree, they look like reads pretty much straight away without too much effort at all. Maybe, well, I think I'm almost there. Don't want to overwork it. I'm just having one last look to see if I'm done. Yes, I'd say that's done. I do not like to ever overwork a painting, so it's knowing when to stop, isn't it? So let me show you this little watercolour that I've just painted in just a short while. Let me show you what it looks like with the masking tape off. Now don't forget, when you're taking your masking tape off, pull it away from the paper at right angles. This prevents you from tearing the painting itself. And I think you'll agree that looks really quite effective. And this is the one I've been working from today. Okay, well, thank you very much.